Hey everyone, welcome back to Fillion. In today's video, I want to talk about Chapter 1 of AI Assisted Data Engineering. And Chapter 1 is why AI rests on earned judgment. I mentioned this in the video about the preface and have probably mentioned that phrase a few times now in these videos. So just wanted to elaborate on that and also explain a little why start here. So first, why start here? This book is AI Assisted Data Engineering. And so why am I starting here with earned judgment? And it's because, again, you're going to hear another familiar phrase from me, which is the cognitive struggle. And what I want to set the stage for here is that none of this matters and this is not useful to you if you have not yet been through the cognitive struggle yourself. So if you haven't been through this, if you don't have experience doing the task that you're trying to work on, in this case, all of this context is in the realm of data engineering, then this is useless to you. You have to have the experience. You need to know how to do it on your own first before this is something that you can utilize and get the benefit from it. You have to have been through the cognitive struggle first. Your brain is a muscle, just like anything else. And to learn something, you have to go through the struggle the same way that if you want your muscles to get stronger, you have to go through the struggle. You can't learn something by watching someone else. Let me restate that. You can't get stronger by watching someone else lift weights. And it's the same way here. You can't get smarter by watching the AI or the agent do the work for you. You have to have been through the repetitions. You have to have done the hard work, the heavy lifting to build the muscle yourself. The reason this is important is because this is the point, right? The cognitive struggle is the point. This is important because if you haven't been through that, you don't know what good looks like. You don't know what right looks like. And for this to be useful to you, you have to be able to imagine what a good answer looks like before you even start. Because otherwise, the AI is going to sell you on an answer because all of the answers that come out of these chatbots look plausible and correct. And maybe they are syntactically correct. Maybe there's nothing, quote, wrong with the answer they gave you, but it's lacking huge amount of human context that comes from business knowledge. And if you don't have the ability to recognize that the answer that was given is incorrect, or maybe it's correct, but it won't work for your situation, or it's a method that you've tried before on your own before asking the agent, no, it doesn't work, and can push back and say, no, I've tried this before, although it seems like it, this is why that doesn't work. I do this constantly with the agents, and pushback gets the same response as when you ask the question originally. Oh, you're right. That's a great idea. Oh, that's a great point. You're right. We should look at this. The chatbots are meant to be people pleasers, and so they are always going to agree with you and always give an answer. And we all know that even though that sometimes feels good, it's not the best way to get the right answer or the best product. You do need to push back, you need back and forth, you need iterations on things to actually dial into what is the best solution. So, what does earned judgment look like? In this context, I'm sure there's a lot of ways to define it, but I've come up with a couple of points that I have here in my notes about what earned judgment looks like. And when I say earned judgment, what I mean is your ability to recognize what is right, what's wrong, what feels like something is not going to work with this based on your years of empirical evidence and experience. And so, first thing that I think of in earned judgment is prediction. I mentioned earlier that this is useless to you if you can't imagine what a good answer looks like before you even ask the question. And that's one of the predictors of having good judgment is the ability to predict, right? It's one of the indicators of a good outcome is that you have the ability to predict what a good answer is going to look like so that you can recognize when the agent gives you back a good answer versus a bad one. The second thing I think of is detection speed. How quickly can I detect a wrong answer or a wrong method or something like that? Because if I don't know the domain very well, it can take a long time to recognize that something's wrong. Often that happens either through deployments or when something makes it all the way to production and then users inform you that something's wrong. And those slip through the cracks because you didn't understand the domain well enough to be able to catch those errors up front. So, speed of detection is another indicator to say whether or not you have enough earned judgment to work in this space, use the AI, trust what's happening here, trust these interactions and what you're getting out of them. And the last thing is explanation. Can you explain the code that was generated to someone else? And this one's an easy test because whether you wrote the code, whether someone else wrote the code, or an agent wrote the code, you need to be able to explain it to someone else and what the code is doing to be able to say that you fully understand it. And this is a necessary step because once this code ships to production, you then have to defend it and stand by it. When people ask questions and say, how did you come to this data? Why do we have this row? Why is the record count this? You need to be able to say why. And knowing how your code and models and everything work is a prerequisite, is a requirement. And so explanation is another indicator. Can you explain this to someone else? If the answer is no, don't use it. And finally, what does this mean in practice? Practically, you need to already have some idea of what works and sit with this problem long enough in your head that you have some idea formed ahead of time before you even ask the question. And I think what I want to close with for this section is that referring back to why start here, it's because these habits are important. If you're going to be working with AI and trusting or using the output, trusting or not, you need to have these mindsets and habits in place before you start. One of them is that you craft your idea first, you use the AI to accelerate that idea, and you have ownership of this the whole way through. Whether the AI is making it or not, your name is what gets signed off on the code. Your user name is what gets tagged on the commit, and everyone knows it's you. So you better be able to justify, stand by, defend all of this code. In closing, I will point out a couple things to clarify. One is that I'm not saying that AI should only be used by experts. That's not the argument here. Because AI has many uses, including for one of the steps that I said that it's not for, which is learning. If your intent is to use it to learn and you go through the cognitive struggle while using it as a learning tool, then that's valuable. And but again, it's because you are going through the cognitive struggle and you're seeking out the learning on your own, regardless of where you're getting the learning content from. So that point reinforces and also breaks itself. If I can review it, explain it, and own it, these things do help me ship. If I can own it, explain it, if I can review it, explain it, and own it, these agents do actually help me ship code faster. If I can't, I don't pretend and I don't use the agent as false confidence or false intelligence. It needs to be my own. And finally, why this foundation matters is because all of our later chapters, methods, examples are going to build on this. And before we get there, you need to be able to tell whether or not the machine is helping. So I think that's all I'm going to say here for chapter one, why AI rests on earned judgment and the importance of the cognitive struggle. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them down in the comments below. Thanks. See you on the next one.